Okay, we're starting chapter 4, which is about volume and capacity. And so the getting started, again, is just a review of different concepts that will help you through the unit. And so in the first one here, it's calculating area, right? So that's helpful because in some of the volume formulas, you have to calculate the area of the base and then multiply it by the third dimension, right? By the height or the altitude. So just a reminder here for area of a circle, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Area of a circle is pi r squared. And so here, the radius, that's the diameter. So the radius is, oh, that looks weird. Radius is 0.45 divided by 2, which is 0.225. You can check that, but I think that's what it is. Get out your calculator. And then 0.45 divided by 2, just check it. Yep, got it. You could even square it right now. So square button or exponent 2. And then times by pi. And that is going to be 0. Does it say what to round to? It doesn't. So we'll go to 2 decimal places because it's pretty small. 0.16. Meters squared. Okay. Next one. So take a look here. This is a hexagon. So easiest way is to split it into equal triangles. This is a regular hexagon. So that means it has 6 equal triangles. And so we'll find the area of one triangle and then multiply it by 6. So take a look. These dashes mean that those sides are all the same. So in this triangle here, where we have that height of the triangle, the base is 8 feet 7 inches. Now, in this one, the challenge is that it's not in the same unit, right? 8 feet 7 inches is not 8.7 feet. So you have to be really careful on that. And so really you can convert it to fractions or decimals. You're allowed to use a calculator. So you probably convert it first to fractions, then to decimals. So area will be 6, I'll use big brackets, times a half, times the base, so 8 plus 7/12, times the height, which is 7 plus 5/12. That's really how we're going to get the decimal form of each of those dimensions, because that's 8 feet, and there are 12 inches in a foot, so plus 7/12 of another foot. So if we calculate that now, get our calculator out once here rather than back and forth. So 8 plus 7 divided by 12, 8.583 repeating. And I'll just keep the repeating. Might as well, it's really accurate, right? And then 7 plus 5/12, 7.416 repeating, 7.416 repeating. And so in our calculator, we can use those values, right? This is all multiplication. So if I already have the 7.416 repeating, I can press times and then go up to 8.583 repeating, or enter this into your calculator, and then times by 1 divided by 2, or you could put 0.5 and then times by 6. And 190, well, basically 191. And that would be in feet, so feet squared or cubic feet. Okay. Okay, so match each object with the equation that results in its volume. So we're looking at different shapes here. We've got a rectangular prism, we've got a cylinder, we've got a triangular prism. So anything that has circle in it's going to have pi. So that kind of gives it away here that I see pi, nothing else has a pi in it. We've got to have the area of the base, pi r squared, times the height. So those are matchups. Then here, I see a half. Remember, for the area of a triangle, it's a half base times height. And so that would be a half times the base times the height. So those can be switched around, it doesn't matter. And then of the triangle, and then the actual height of the prism is the 10. So those match up. And then rectangular prism is easy, length times width times height. Practicing fractions here. So remember, when you're dividing by 4, that's like 4 over 1. And so if we didn't use our calculator, we would do this as a half times 1 over 4. You flip it and change the sign. You flip it and make it a multiplication. You change the sign to a multiplication. So now that's going to be 1/8. Because you're basically saying, okay, if I have half an apple and I've got to divide it into 4 parts, they're going to be small. They're going to be equal to 1/8 of an apple, each of them. This is a multiplying, so see if you can divide anything out, but you can't because you have to divide out between a numerator and a denominator. So now you just multiply the numerators and multiply the denominators. Reduce if you can, but you can't in this one. Next is greater than, less than, or equal to. Okay, so got to remember some of your conversions. Maybe you want to look to the back of your book if you need to. So remember, back page, that's where there's lots of conversions there. So we might refer to that in a minute, but let's take a look. Oops, there we go. So these are metric. So remember that there's 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So maybe if you want to multiply this by 1,000, that would move the decimal 3 to the right. So that'd be 7,750 milliliters, much bigger than 550 milliliters. Okay, now next one. This is centimeters cubed and this is milliliters. Like those aren't even sort of the same. But if you, I think it's probably in the back of the book. So let's just look there. Let's see if capacity, so, or volume, I should say. So centimeters cubed. Okay. So 1 centimeter cubed converting to milliliters, but note that 1 centimeter cube holds 1 milliliter. So a milliliter is capacity. It's like a measurement for the volume of water or milk or whatever that fills that 3-dimensional object. The volume of the object is in centimeters cubed, but the milliliters fill it up. Okay, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio, which makes it easy. So this is the same, these are the same, because this is a centimeter cubed is a milliliter. Okay, kiloliter and just liters. So kilo always means 1,000. So if I multiply this by 1,000, I will get it in liters. So that would be 18,000 liters, and this is only 2,000. So that's going to be bigger. Okay, so then gallons and quarts, UK gallons and quarts, so the same, because US and UK have slightly different versions of their imperial measurements. But let's take a look at the chart there. Okay, so this is imperial. So here. You can see for capacity, if you look down, so 1 quart is 2 pints, 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Doesn't matter if it's US or UK, that's the conversion. The difference is how many fluid ounces in a cup, etc. But that's 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So let's look at that. So 4 gallons, we've multiplied by 4 to get 16 quarts. So 25 is bigger. And then pints to cups, I saw that there too. So 1 pint is 2 cups. So 1 pint is 2 cups. So 8 pints times 2 is 16 cups. So that would be exactly the same. And then remember liters and milliliters. So 1 liter is 1,000 milliliters. So we'll multiply by 1,000 and we get 9,000 milliliters. So that's equal. Okay. Next one, name each object and calculate its volume. So this is a rectangular prism. And so that is just length times width times height. So 2 times 2 times 12. So that's 48 centimeters cubed. 3 dimensions now for volume. Next one. So for this prism, we have to take the area of the base. So even though it looks like it's on a base that's a rectangle, the bases have to be the parallel sides. So the volume will be the area of the base, which is a triangle, times the height of the prism. So the base here will be 1/2 times 20 times 15. Okay, that's that, times 30 is the height. Okay, so half of 20 is 10, so that's 150. So 4,500, I think. Let's just check. So 1 divided by 2 times 20 times 15 times 30. Yep, got it right. And that would be millimeters cubed. 3 dimensions is always units cubed. Then a cylinder, same thing. It's the area of the base. Oops, volume equals area of the base times the height. The base here is a circle, so pi r squared times height. And the radius here, so that's diameter, so the radius is 3. And the height is 4. That'll need my calculator for the pi button. So, oops, wrong thing. Pi times 3 squared times 4 is 113.1 square inches. Okay, now the next one. Both of these toy blocks are the same height, which has a greater volume. Explain how you know. Well, we don't know what the height is, but it's the same. So we'll call this H and this H, okay? And so if we think about it, the volume of the cylinder is going to be pi times the radius squared times the height. The volume of the prism is going to be area of the base, which is 10 times 10 times the height. So the one that will be bigger is whichever of these values is bigger, right? Because the height's the same. So this will be 25 times pi, and this will be 10 times 10, so it's 100 H. This, let's check. So pi times 25 is 78.5. So prism will be bigger. Okay, just because we're comparing those bases. Okay, so next one says express each volume in the unit given. So we're converting from cubic yards to cubic feet. So look, using the charts. Okay, so that's imperial. Volume. Cubic yards. So 1 cubic yard is 27 cubic feet. Basically, because there's 3 feet in a yard, and for 3 dimensions, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. So 27. So 4 cubic yards, we'd multiply by 27. So that's going to be 108 cubic feet. Okay, then from cubic feet to cubic inches. Okay, so cubic feet to cubic inches, that's 1,728. Basically, there's 12 inches in a foot. 12 times 12 times 12 is 1,728. Okay, so that is 5 times 1,728. Oh, that didn't put a 5 in. 5 times 1,728 is 8,640. Okay, then centimeters cubed to millimeters cubed. Well, remember there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So 10 cubed is 1,000, but you can look it in your chart. So look here, volume. They don't give everyone, but what is centimeters? Yeah, they don't go centimeters to millimeters in this. So we have to kind of think about figuring that one in our head. Okay, so that's going to be times by 1,000. So 45,000 millimeters, because 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. And if we cube that, then we have to cube this. And then centimeters to meters squared. Well, there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So if we cube that, that's going to be 1,000,000 centimeters squared in a meter cubed. Sorry, 1,000,000 centimeters cubed in a meter cubed. Okay, so we're going to have to divide by 1 with 6 zeros. So that moves it 4 to the left, and then 2 more. Okay. And then express each capacity in the unit given. So 4 cups, how many fluid ounces, UK fluid ounces is that? So here 1 cup, UK fluid ounces is 10 fluid ounces. So 4 cups will be 40. 2 gallons, I think we already did a gallons to quarts. Gallon to quart. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So 2 gallons is 8 quarts. And then there's 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So we'll multiply by 1,000. So that's going to be 8,500. And vice versa, if we're starting with milliliters, we divide by 1,000. So 0.324 liters. Okay, so that's your getting started. You can now do section 4.1.